Lichdom Battlemage, yes.
Tell us a little bit about the background of the game.
Absolutely.
What inspired you to make it?
Sure. The mission is very straightforward. 2 years ago, the creative director of the studio and I sat down and we decided to build a mage experience that was completely uncompromised. Since we're just focusing on the mage, we don't need to use any mechanics like cooldowns and mana bars to keep the mage power consistent with other classes. This is just all about the mage. So you are imbued with magical abilities that allow you to be the aggressor, to move into combat, guard yourself cleverly with barrier spells by using dodge and shields to succeed in combat. To really nail the idea that people should play this game to build the mage they've always wanted to play, we've also included a huge crafting system that allows folks to build the spells that they've always wished they'd been able to build in other games. So you don't unlock spells, you actually you make something that suits your play style. If you're not as interested in direct damage on fire and are more about napalming with AoEs, then build the spell that way. Invest in control, which is one of the attributes of fire, and make the damage over time last longer and longer and longer as you progress through the game. Same thing with ice and freeze. You could invest in the shatter bonus of freeze so that you're turning freeze into a mini AoE of frost shards that explode when you kill someone. And then we have many other, we call them sigils, effectively schools of magic, like fire and ice, that people can invest in so that they can really feel like they're role-playing their pyromancer or their necromancer or time-space mage. You need to be positionally very strategic, and you really need to understand how all of your spells work together, because our AI are clever, and even though you have limitless ammo, if you are not using your weapons cleverly and using your space in an intelligent way, they will still annihilate you. Our AI does a lot of coordination. They use cover well. They are smart about flanking you. And so when you're fighting these groups, you still need to calculate every single cast. It's a little bit of a charge up, yes, and we use the materials and crafting system to allow you to modify what that charge up is. So there's some concept of sacrificing charge up to be able to build a more damaging or a spell that has an AoE blast on it. So you have the ability, or you could go the other way and take that charge up and make it as minimal as possible, sacrificing the damage and just getting a rapid fire target or a rapid fire corruption so that you can paint everybody with corruption. On the bottom left, those are your magical shields. Again, modifiable by the player. That is our one defensive sigil. And those shields regenerate, and you can modify the number of hit points each of them have, as well as their regen rate, their regen delay, and you can also modify your dodge distance and movement speed. So that bottom left is sort of everything that's about how you move through the world, are agile, and protect yourself. While everything on the right hand is how you blow everything up. So he's on his second layer of shield right now. He's what we call, he's lost a pip. Since he's lost that pip, the only way he can replenish it is go find a pip in the world and then consume that magic, that etheria, to replenish it. What you're looking at here is the sigils that are included in this demo, Fire, Ice, and Corruption. You'll choose one of those to decide, all right, so what am I going to focus on right now? In this case, Dan's going to focus on fire, and he's a big fan of using burn damage instead of direct damage, using dots to burn down the final boss. So he's browsing his list, and just to be super clear, in this demo, this is the exact same content that we have on Steam Early Access. So all of the loot is completely random, and these are the same challenges, same loot lists, same everything that players are actually getting. This isn't a sort of a pack-specific, scripted sequence. And the reason why that's important is because Dan's actually having to read through those recipes right now and consider if he's got what he needs to take down the Undead Hulk after this, because all of those drops were random. That last slot over on the right is the augment, and there you can choose if you want to go with Mastery, Control, or Destruction to further tailor the spell to your playstyle. It's a lot of fun to watch. We actually have a lot of just competitions in the office and out of the office with people competing to see what's the best tactic for beating our bosses. Everything that drops in the game has value from the beginning to the end. That was a mission statement of ours from the get-go. So synthesis is the way we answer that. While you're getting white loot, you can take 3 matches of any of the white loot, synthesize it, and it improves in rarity. It gives you 1 back and gives you an improved rarity of that. So you can synthesize up greens, from greens to blues, and then blues to purples. So that way, everything in your inventory, you know, there's always value for something. And even if you don't have 3 matches, you can kind of pull the slot machine lever, if you will, and just throw 3 of anything in, and you'll get some random piece of loot back. Sometimes really awesome, sometimes not. Everything has value from beginning to end of the game. And the cool thing is that when you're looking at your final spells, like you've made it through the entire storyline, you're excited about it, there's actually sort of a path of your first white loot was synthesized to go into this fireball that is your in-game fireball. So now that Dan has prepared himself for the fight, he's heading into our Undead Hulk area. And the key here for us is our boss fights are built to make you really invest in these spells, really think about how to use them. Feel like after the fight that you really used a strategy, and we're having to you know, consider your every cast and your every move. We've had quite a few people sort of reference Dark Souls a bit, saying that it has kind of that feeling, and there's no doubt that our entire studio are Dark Souls nuts. So, you know, we like to feel like we earned something at the end of a fight. Just one misstep, one poorly timed anything, and you can get wrecked pretty bad. Loot is very important to us, and so we're big fans of Diablo, and there's definitely a lot of sort of inspiration there for how the mage works and how the loot works. Fair to say we're not done working on this thing. We're going to be working on it for a long time.